Yo, what's going on, Nomads and Drifting podcast listeners? Welcome to episode 20 of Backspace Nomads. Before we jump into the cast, want to give you a quick reminder to check out our Twitter at Backspace Nomads. There you can connect with us, tweet with us, find out all the things that you've ever wanted to know about your friendly Backspace Nomads. On this episode of the pod, we are checking out RiME from Tequila Works. Then we're going to have a discussion about all the protesting going on in video games right now, starting with Runescape and then working our way over to the voice actors and the motion capture people. Finally, we're going to wrap up the cast with a look at the worst games on Kickstarter and which ones we might actually back. So sit tight, everybody. This one's a humdinger. Monica, how's your week been? What's been going on with you?
Well, I'm moving. I'm going to be moving.
Again?
So you guys, yeah, again. Oh my gosh. I swear to God, I might as well just be a gypsy. I used to joke around about it, but I really am. I think over the since I was 18 years old, I have probably moved on average every 6 months.
What?
The longest I've ever spent in one abode, not saying that like I didn't stay in the same city or anything, but the longest I ever spent in one abode was in my house that I own still, that I don't live in, that since I bought it, I have moved twice.
You still own a house, but you're moving?
Yeah.
What, you got squatters?
Yeah. They pay me money though, so it's okay.
The best kind of squatters.
But yeah, I'm going to be moving again, but I'm going to have better internet. And so I'm pretty excited about it because we've been talking for a while about streaming. And so once this move takes place, I will be able to stream on Twitch under the Backspace Nomads
the return
name. The return of Drunkonica. It will be fun. I am excited about it. So I'll be streaming probably like one night a week. I'm really, really stoked for that.
I think many of us are. It's been many people in the community, the Nomads, asking for it when it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people just miss me yelling at them. That's it. I'm really good at that, and people enjoy it, so I am thankful for that. Thank you, everyone. I'm very grateful that you enjoy my abuse.
Dude, I've been checking out a little bit of the EA stuff this week going on at E3. It happened earlier today.
Yeah.
Their EA Play.
It's been hard to keep up with.
Dude, their press conference.
So much.
Like, there's so much going on, but like, when it gets down to it, it's kind of a fucking snooze fest. Like, half their press conference is about EA Battlefront 2. Or, I mean, Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is just, like, better graphics than Battlefront 1, I guess. And then their game, I think it's called Aftermath from Bethesda. No. Who made Mass Effect? Why am I drawing a blank here?
I don't know.
Oh, man. That developer.
I can't help you.
We've talked about it before, too. This is so embarrassing.
Just move on.
All right. So basically, this developer, they released a teaser trailer that the Microsoft press conference is going to be showing the full game. BioWare, it is BioWare. Like, it's just the worst press conference. It was so cringy. I'm glad I was there to watch it, just so that there are like, I know there's more content on the internet that's more cringy than some of the stuff we do here on the podcast. It made me feel good about us. So.
Yeah, I always feel good about us. What does that mean?
Oh, I feel like there are moments of cringe on this podcast with like I fully enjoy, but like I'm just like, ooh, nice.
I think cringe doesn't really happen to me very often. We should do that sometime where you try to like get me to cringe from something.
Dude, I am a master of making people cringe.
No, you know what? I did cringe. I do cringe from really long fingernails on or toenails on men or women, but fingernails on guys.
Are you alluding to something here?
I am. Wait, let me see your fingernails.
Oh no, mine are short and crisp. I keep these puppies nice and tight. I'm a cook, all right? Like I can't have stuff getting under my fingernails.
Yeah, you just get those refried beans in there, and then when you need a little dabble do ya, you just crust it out from under your fingernail.
Dabble do ya?
Yeah.
All right, let's dabble do ya right into our review for RiME from Tequila Works. So RiME was released May 26th of 2017 for a $30 price point. Developed by Tequila Works, published by Greybox. It's a indie adventure platforming game. A land of discovery stretches out before you. Explore the beautiful yet rugged world of RiME, a single-player puzzle adventure. In RiME, you play as a young boy who has awakened on a mysterious island after a torrential storm. You see wild animals, long-forgotten ruins, and massive towers that beckon you to come on closer. Armed with your wits and your will to overcome, and the guidance of a helpful fox, you must explore the enigmatic island, reach the tower's peak, and unlock its closely guarded secrets. Monica, what'd you think about RiME? What were your expectations loading this game up?
So I spent probably 30 minutes of my life looking for this other game that I played about a year and a half ago. That this just reminded me so much of, except you were a little girl and you were trying to help your sick brother, and you had to go on these boats to these different areas in this island. It kind of just reminded me of that. It also reminded me a little bit of The Last Guardian, which I played, and which made me just rage like crazy. So my expectation going into this was like, man, I really hope that I think just because of the post-traumatic stress that I had from The Last Guardian and trying to get the little dog thing that you guide along in that game to listen to you, I was like, I really hope that I don't have to like control this fox or anything like that. I don't know what kind of expectations I really had, but they weren't like great ones. I was going into it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I was just going into it.
Yeah. Just prepared to be excited type, like, okay, here's the game. Right. Let's play it. I'm kind of the same with you. This game really reminded me about a lot of other games where you're looking at it. I know a lot of other people like in the reviews and stuff. They all kind of bring up like Ico, like The Last Guardian, like you talked about. So there was definitely like hints of all that from the screenshots and videos I saw. But I thought all those. It's
an explorer game, though. So like, I feel like people just pulled like the explorer games that they
do.
Played.
Like I don't want to hold that as a negative, but I do know I like exploring games. So I was pretty like, all right, I'm ready for this game. This seems interesting. So jumping into RiME, what were some of the things that you were liking about the game? What did it have going on for it?
So I am going to save my favorite for last.
Okay. My
favorite thing for last, unless you hit it and then before me. But so I guess I'll just go into the puzzles.
Yep.
There are a lot of puzzles that go along with this exploration game. You have to do a lot of solving. And at some points, the puzzles are relatively difficult. Keep in mind, I have not finished the game fully.
Okay.
So I need to say that right off the bat. But some of the puzzles are not super complicated. In fact, some of them are so easy that you almost feel like you should have just let me walk through that door, because picking something up 5 feet in front of it and then jamming it into the hole that looks exactly like the thing that you picked up 5 feet in front of it is not much of a puzzle. And I don't know why I really had to do that. So I was almost trending towards saying that the puzzles were too easy, but I did like certain elements of it. There are a few different types of puzzles in the game. I think when you're dealing with like an enemy, it makes it a lot more interesting. When in regards, I wouldn't even know if you'd call dealing with the enemies puzzles, but you definitely have to. Would you consider that a puzzle?
Dealing with the enemies,
when you're
yes, because sometimes they use the enemies to block a path off, or like making you work your way through a certain grouping of them. So yeah, I would say that.
Okay, so I liked that. I felt like that there was some diversity within the puzzles. So I think overall I enjoyed them. I didn't think that anything brand spanking new was being brought to the table with them from what I experienced. But I like that addition. And I also started to realize that those really simple puzzles that I was somewhat frustrated with initially do keep the game going in a sense that you feel like you're always doing something.
Yeah.
So this game does a good job of having you always do something.
Right. I would say, like, jumping in on the puzzles, I thought the puzzles were pretty solid. There are a few of them, especially in the beginning, that felt like kind of like they were just giving you something to do. They're just gatekeeping for no reason. They're very easy to solve, easy to figure out. There are a few though in there that like really had me thinking and like, like what the hell? Like why can't I figure this out? Like I'm a smart adult individual. I don't know why this isn't happening. I think my favorite puzzles, and I haven't played too many like adventure puzzle solving games, so this mechanic might be in other ones, but like the use of your shadow and being able to change like the time of the day so that the shadow your shadow changes on a wall, that is part of the puzzle, and lining up your shadow correctly like solves the puzzle. That type of stuff like really surprised me, and I was like, oh, like aha moment, like that's really cool. I don't know if that's in other games. If it is, you know, they're kind of just pulling on what other games did well. If it isn't, kudos to this development team. Like that was awesome. I know when I was streaming it, one of our viewers, Lyrically, was telling me there's a game called Contrast that really does that, but I've never checked it out, so I can't necessarily compare the two.
Contrast does do that, but it's similar, but not. This game just doesn't feel anything like Contrast. Okay. So I didn't even think of that until you said that right now.
What's something else that that you liked about this game?
So I enjoyed the cutscenes a lot. I thought that in a lot of them you like kind of get pulled around. I don't know how to explain this too well, so if you feel like jumping in, please by all means. But a lot of the ways that you move through this game is by like almost unlocking this like magic or these spirits. Yeah. That will then flow into unlocking a door or whatnot. Yeah, they're like spiritual keys. And you basically, in regards to the cutscenes, they're always very, to me, they seemed flowy, similar to the spirits flowing around. I thought they did a really, really good job with them. I wanted more, and I wanted them to be a little bit longer. But from what I saw, I enjoyed them. I felt like they were a nice present as I was moving along in the game. Yeah, the cutscenes definitely were some of the better storytelling elements of the game. I think my second thing I really liked about the game is just how the game like told the story at the end and how everything kind of came together and like tied it up. And I don't want to go into spoilers, but this game did a very nice job of making your entire journey through the game meaningful at the end of it. Okay. And like it's like moving, it's gripping. You get like somewhat emotional depending on how like, you know, how tough you are on the inside, like how much you can deal with it. So they do a very good job at the end of the game pulling the story together and really like making it feel like you didn't waste any time. Like this game was worth playing through. And like that's a very hard thing to do, not just in video gaming, but any kind of storytelling, like books, movies. Like that's a very hard thing to pull off. And Tequila Works definitely nailed it. So nothing but praise to them for being able to like tie the bow on this knot. You know what I mean? Right. What else? I assume that we're going to be on the same page here. If not, I may fight you with the music. This motherfucking music. This music is some of the best music I have heard in a game ever. In a long time. Ever. It was just gorgeous. It was amazing. And it really makes you feel like the music gives this atmosphere that I almost feel like other elements of the game lacked. Yeah. It filled in the gaps. Without the music, this game would be something completely different. Sure. It really impressed me. There were moments where I was playing and I would just get goosebumps because of the expansiveness of the map that I was currently looking at. Plus the music, it's just like my body couldn't control it. It definitely fit it. It made like the soundtrack made everything you're doing inside of the game just feel epic. And like they had the way they did their sound triggers in the programming to where you're coming up over like certain puzzles and obstacles that like it hits a new like crescendo, and like the music is just so loud and like orchestrated. Like I was blown away.
by this music. I was not expecting it at all. Like I would listen to that soundtrack outside of that game any day. That is definitely some like work music to put on, and like it will make your work life feel like it has meaning, you know? Like it is a wonderful soundtrack.
As you're writing some business email, you're like, I am the master of the universe of business email.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like I'm going to buy the original soundtrack for this game because I just want it with me in the cloud wherever I go. It's a solid soundtrack. And I think that's kind of all the things I liked about the game on like a surface level. Like the art was very beautiful in this game. The colors were great. But like, you know, they are kind of like pulling from other games and that. Anything else you liked from this game?
Let's just go ahead and jump into the art. I felt that the music was so powerful and the art left something to be desired for me personally. Mm-hmm. I felt that the music was almost too overwhelming for the art style. No complaints against the music. I don't think that they should have had horror music. I think they should have just stepped it up a little bit with the art style.
Yeah.
I know that that's probably a very controversial opinion because a lot of people from when I was just like, man, I was not liking it.
Yeah.
And so I was reading some reviews and people were just praising it and they really liked it. So it's definitely a matter of opinion.
I feel confrontational.
At times, yeah, I do you?
Yes.
That's fine. I'll fight you. At times it worked. There are elements like there are scenes where you're running across these really long bridges, or you can see like I think specifically during the nighttime, which you see less, so it's darker. It worked for me, but there was just things with the ocean during the daytime. Mm-hmm. It just looked flat. At night, it kind of came alive, and I'm like, "What is going on? This is weird."
Yeah,
you know, I wasn't in love with it.
Sure.
Also, the main character, I don't know. He just his art style, it just reminded me of just so many games that are already in existence, and I wanted something different. I wanted something more.
Yeah. I think like I can kind of pull on the art for something I disliked about the game. I don't dislike the style. It is a very flat, cel-shaded look. It's pulling on some very strong, saturated primary colors. My biggest problem with it as an art piece is that it's pulling too much from other games. This feels like I'm playing Zelda, the Wind Walker or whatever. Like that's what it looks like. It looks like they boosted that art style off the game and kind of added their own take on it, but not enough to make it unique. It definitely felt like I was playing other games. And I think that rolls into another big dislike for me as a game, is that this game just as a whole is pulling on other elements from games. All the acrobatics in this game felt like the new rebooted Tomb Raider. The way you're shuffling around shelves, climbing up on them, jumping back and forth, to the way they mark, the way the cliffs look, like that is Tomb Raider.
That felt like the way they marked the cliffs did feel like that, but I also feel like so many games, well, they specifically in Tomb Raider do use that white platform, yeah. Mm-hmm. But the other dynamics of the game, I mean, so many games use these elements now. I mean, if you want to go that far, you could just say Prince of Persia. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I can't diss it for I personally can't diss it for using some of these dynamics that so many games before have had.
All right, what's something else you liked or disliked about this game?
Okay, I guess we'll go into like my more finicky one because you know how I get about these games. I did not like his knobby ass little knees and the way he ran. He's got these twig-like legs. It gave me flashbacks to my youth where my knees were like 2 times wide as my bone. As my leg bones. And you know the thing is here, like when he runs, he just like I don't know, maybe I run like that. I probably do, and that's embarrassing. I didn't like the way he ran when he was running down hills. It looked like he was like high stepping, and I'm just like, what are you doing, little kid? Why are you high stepping down this hill? That's weird. You should be way more careful, and you don't even have hiking boots on. So what is this?
I think you're the only reviewer to put in like self-hate. Like, I hate my knees. I hate this game's knees. Like, what the hell, dude? Trying to be objective, all right?
I just looked at his knobby little knees and I said, no, thank you.
No, thank you to knobby knees. Oh, man. God damn it. I mean, I guess the next thing I dislike about this game has nothing to do with the way the characters looked. I think that the way the story unfolded in the beginning and the second act of this game was way too slow. I was kind of confused about why and what we were doing in the game and like what was our purpose for having knobby knees on this fucking island where no one else is there. You're not really introduced into any enemies until probably the second act. There's no enemies in the first act of this game, and it's just like the story is so slow. They don't give you any backstory besides that you like woke up on this island, and then you see these little like keyhole picture frames that tell you like scene by scene. They don't make sense. And like really at the end of the game, once everything's like kind of told to you and you know what's going on, looking back, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But some of the stuff still doesn't make sense. So I wish this game did a better job at like telling you what's going on, what you're experiencing as a player and a character while you're doing it. And like, that's a harder mechanic to pull off, but it's much more meaningful. And I really wish they would have done that, because until like the third act and really almost the end of the third act, I just had no idea. I was like, okay, like you're following around this like pitch black character wearing a red robe for literally the entire game until probably the last 15 minutes. And then it's explained to you. And it's just, I was lost. I don't know why they did that. And it makes sense once you find out who that character is, but like, it would have been a better game if you would have found out earlier and they would have used different storytelling mechanics to get you to that point.
Right. So I did not finish the story, and I was very hesitant to list this on my things of dislikes. Mm-hmm. But I was very glad to hear that you said that the end is a possible tearjerker, that they wrap it all up, mm-hmm. that they do a good job of explaining everything, because if they didn't, and I do plan on finishing this game, but if they did not do that, this story was not riveting, or quite, to me, it was just almost non-existent.
Yeah.
I felt like I was almost in a weird bad dream. But with like a really beautiful surroundings. You know, those dreams where you can fly for really long periods of time, and mm-hmm. and then like everything's perfect, and then you suddenly stop learning you don't know how to fly anymore, and you start falling and whatever. That's kind of what my experience with this game was.
I've never had that dream.
What? You've never had that?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a mammal. I don't dream like that, all right? My dreams are very realistic.
You've outed me. I am an alien. So I knew that the visuals that you saw, the artwork that you ran into, mm-hmm. that would glow or move, like I knew that those things mattered, but I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I cared. And the only thing that kept me going was pure stubbornness, and the desire to beat this environment.
Yeah.
Because I like exploration games. I really like exploration games. So I felt that desire, but I wasn't wrapped up into the story. And it sounds like in order to be totally wrapped up into the story, you have to finish the game.
Yeah, and like I sometimes wonder, doing this podcast and playing these games, like would I be playing these games as long as I do if I wasn't doing it to review it? And like this game definitely is probably one of the ones that would have fell into the category where I would just stop playing, because while I was having fun, I can go have fun in other games. Like I want a good story to push me through a game, and this one that just mm-hmm. wasn't giving it up. And you were talking about all the things you picked up and like the collectibles, and that's my last big issue I have with this game, is that the collectibles in this game are just kind of without meaning. Even when you find out their importance in the story at the end, playing the game, everything you collect just has zero meaning to your character. There is like zero character progression in this game. Maybe I was thinking about it because this game really looked like recent and modern Zelda games, But the character you start out with is the character you're playing throughout the entire game. You get no new abilities. You get no weapons or like objects that you bring along with you to help solve puzzles. You are just this kid, and I think the intro said it's like your wits versus this island. That's basically it. Like, it's your wits. And that's kind of a negative for me in an exploration game, one where you're playing it. This is about I would say a 6 to 8 hour game, depending on how fast you blow through elements of it. And you're just playing the same character, I don't think is cool. I think it only adds to how well the game is received when you add in character progression, because you start to take ownership of the character once you start doing that. And in this game, I never really felt like I was this kid. I felt like I was controlling this kid in the world.
Yep. Agreed.
So anything else you disliked about RiME?
Nope, those are my 3.
All right. Final thoughts. Where are you going with this one?
So, as someone that enjoys the genre of games, I was a little bit let down. I've played games that were controversial, that had mixed reviews, and enjoyed them, and I haven't finished it. So it sounds like the end is really good, but just from where I stand right now, I'm giving it a thumbs down, only because if you have to finish a game in order to appreciate it, then I'm not gonna be able to tell people to force themselves to enjoy it until the finale. So I guess another thing is it's hard for me to give it the thumbs down, because the music is so good. There are certain elements of this game that are really, really, really beautiful. But I am a thumbs down on this one.
All right. For me, I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It is a $30 game, so it is kind of like hesitant to give anything a thumbs up. Like, you really want to make sure that like I like this game to give it a recommendation. And maybe it is because of how moved I was at the end of it. Maybe I'm biased on that now. That's why I'm giving it a thumbs up. I enjoyed my experience playing this game. I don't feel like I got taken for my money. I enjoyed the puzzles. I enjoyed the music massively, and the story really pulled me as a person, like, who deals with that type of stuff every now and again. So I definitely have to give a thumbs up to RiME. Thumbs up, thumbs down for RiME from the Backspace Nomads. Released May 26th. You can find it on Steam for $29.99. Developed by Tequila Works and QLock. Published by Gray Box. We're going to go ahead and go to intermission, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about RuneScape and what the fuck is going on with all the protests in it. We'll be right back, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Thank you for sitting through that intermission, everybody. Welcome back to Backspace Nomads, episode 20. On this half of the show, we're going to be talking about RuneScape and what's going on with all the protests inside of it. And then we're going to be talking about shitty Kickstarter games. But first, what the fuck is going on in RuneScape, Monica? Like, what the hell?
So I found this article and I shared it with Brian. I'm putting it... we'll put it up on our Twitter too. You can follow us at Backspace Nomads. But basically, RuneScape. Did you ever play RuneScape?
I played RuneScape briefly when I was like a young lad in high school.
Okay, so I played it quite a bit in high school. I haven't played it since. I know it's still around. Mm-hmm. I know it still has a pretty massive following. Sure. And it's kind of bizarre that it's been around for this long. Yeah. But it seems like what might be fueling it is hatred.
Yeah. Some angsty hatred.
Yeah. So basically, RuneScape was planning on having a Pride event for the lesbian, gay. Wait, what's the acronym? I always forget it.
LGBTQ.
Pride Month. Oh, what's for Pride Month? LGBTQ. That's right. I thought they added more to it.
I think it's just Q. I think Q is the addition.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, and because they were going to participate in this, multiple people within the community got upset. They said that the game should not be putting out an opinion or like celebrating these types of things. Which I swear to God, I have played games where it's just like 4th of July, you get a free firework. Like, and so
people in China are celebrating the July 4th in World of Warcraft. Like,
right, exactly. So I feel like a lot of events get translated into games, but apparently RuneScape has a somewhat spiteful, hateful community. Hopefully they don't find this podcast and track us down and hate on it. Well, you know what? Whatever. Who cares? But so there were multiple people in the game that were very upset, and they were going to riot in the game.
Riot, like counter protesting it
again. Yeah, in the game against those that are celebrating the Pride event.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that. RuneScape is basically the same political or cultural climate as almost any mass of people.
Yeah, it's basically like when I've had conversations about like the gaming community and like with live streaming, it's becoming more mainstream, and like it's gonna have to wrestle with some really awkward positions that massive parts of its community have. And it being like a trolling, hating community, and they'll aim that at like the LGBT community. That's one of the big issues that like gaming is gonna have to wrestle with. And like this Pride Month and all this going on, it's a weird like backdrop for me because like I do live in Orlando. This is like the 1-year anniversary this week of like the Paul shooting. All these events going on, and then like you showed me this article. I'm like, what the fuck are these people thinking? And like I have like two sides that I wrestle with on the argument, but overall I land on the side of like if people like want to have a little celebration inside of RuneScape, like I guess this guy's name is Mod World from Jackass. He's like a moderator. Like if he wants to like produce a LGBT event for RuneScape, like if you want to be part of it, be part of it. If you don't, sit that one out. Like, just go back to, like, farming your gold vein that you've been farming for 15, 20 years, you nerds. Like, just leave it alone, my dudes.
Also, you know, I don't really want to hate on RuneScape players, but, like, how embarrassing of a riot would it be in RuneScape?
Yeah, it's the anti-pussy riot.
Yeah, it's just so like the character. That game has gone leaps and bounds since I first played it.
Yeah,
but I'm just imagining these characters rioting, and it's entertaining. It's an entertaining and hilarious thought, but then it still is harmful to the members of the community. So I can't laugh at it. I can't fully laugh at it. I can't just say that's ridiculous. because the people that are in that community are experiencing, hatred directed towards them. And I think that that's sad.
It is sad. And
over some rainbows, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like just overall, like these gaming kids have more in common with gay dudes than they realize, because neither one of them are sleeping with women. You know what I mean? Like, just get over yourself.
Are you talking about yourself here?
No, I sleep with women. I'm talking about these like people who want to protest gay people. Like,
okay.
I don't understand the protest. I don't understand the outrage. Like, people are like trying to justify it by saying like, oh, well, this is a old medieval server. How can this take place here? Like, have you not played The Witcher? There's gay sex going on in medieval times.
You know what, though? I feel like just saying that they are like nerdy and so like basement dweller culture that they can't hook up with women is really undermining the fact that there are plenty of people, as far as I consider, they're all the president of the United States.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
I don't think we can just write them off like that. I guarantee you these are people that we have that we work with that, like, I mean, one of my aunts or uncles might even be one of them. I don't know.
Sure.
It's a crazy world out there.
How much of it do you think they're just like picking up on the trolling aspect and enjoying that versus what they actually mean?
I don't know. And I don't know if in this case, if it was just trolling, it seemed like it was a big enough talk that, you can say, well, we're just trolling when we send 50,000 death threats to a woman that develops games.
True.
It's just a troll, but that woman is experiencing death threats and is fearful.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's trolly or not, and I guess I don't really care. I think that they just need.
I just wish they would pick something like
to relax.
Better. Like, you know what they could be fucking protesting right now? Like the voice actor strike that's going on in video games. Like, they could be doing that type of shit. Like, stop with this.
They could be striking with the voice actors, which, by the way, that was something that I just learned about this week.
Yeah, the voice acting strike going on within the video game industry. I don't think we've really seen the waves of it ripple down into games yet, but they're like in 2016, the voice actor union, they partnered with SAG, I guess, really started striking against the video game industry because of all the type of compensation they want. Like, right now they just get like an upfront fee, right?
Right.
And what they really want is to get residuals from gaming companies for the games they voice act for, kind of in line with all the other entertainment industries like TVs, movies. Like, you get a residual check for all, like how much business that movie does. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they should get a residual like that? Or do you think it should be per session type of deal?
I definitely think that voice acting is a skill set. Good voice actors and actresses practice a lot. Mm-hmm. They fine tune their skills, and if you've ever seen someone that can do really great voices and really, it's impressive.
Yeah,
it is really impressive, and that doesn't come naturally. That I know of. It certainly doesn't come naturally for me. I can make voices, but I can't create a distinct dialect across all of my vocabulary for every single voice I make. It's like a quick phase in and a quick phase out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, let me close my eyes. You're taking me away. Who am I doing a podcast with?
I don't know. So
I didn't know we had a third mic.
I know, right? Who is that person? Anyway, I guess how I feel about it is that this is a skill set, and if this is something, I agree on the royalties. I think the hard part is that from what I've seen, and maybe, and I assume I am just not well learned on the subject, but I feel as though your clicking is distracted.
I'm so sorry.
But I feel as though the community as a whole, there are a lot of people wanting to jump in. And when there are so many people that do this practice, I don't know how difficult it is in between being a voice actor and being an actor in film or TV.
Right.
Like, I don't know how
gap.
much more difficult it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. Like, the hard part for me is I kind of see the industry side. But, like, I'm all for the worker. I'm all for the union. Like, get as much money as you can off of these scumbags at EA and Ubisoft. You know what I mean? Like fleece them for all the money you can, because they're just ripping people off. But I can see the argument that the industry is kind of making. And I think the gaming industry is unique in this aspect that they... the voice acting and the actor is not necessarily what's selling the game. And that argument is starting to change because they're using more famous people to be voice actors in games now. But the industry has an argument that they think that it's going to diminish and trivialize the programmers, the artists, and the just massive amounts of back-end workers who do develop and make these games what they are. That's really going to diminish the work, and like they don't matter. And I can only think about the story from Keanu Reeves when he made The Matrix, and he took his check that he made from The Matrix and all the money he made there and gave it to the visual effects team and all the computer artists and stuff because they made the movie. So I can see both sides of the argument. I really can. I don't think the solution is residuals. And I don't necessarily think that will bring them as much revenue as they think it will because, like the big games sell a lot, but the smaller games probably not. I think it's a sliding scale based on the sessions you record. I know I listened to a talk by Matt Mercer where he brought up the fact that we get so much money for this voice acting gig, but then we don't have another gig for months, and that's the money we live off of. So I think if they get residuals off of a game, it'll make it easier to live month to month, or a bigger check up front is going to be a great solution because to me, you don't know how well a game is going to be received because when you see games like Titanfall 2, which was a massively developed game, just didn't hit like other games like Overwatch or Call of Duty.
Right. Another thing is too, I think if the voice actors, and maybe I'm just not as aware of this group of people, but if they were more you went to a con and you got to meet the voice actor, if they were dressed up as the characters, maybe not, I don't know. But if you got to meet someone dressed up in cosplay and you got to meet the actual voice actor, and they got more publicity, I also could see that being a benefit to them. And I almost feel like that's where you fight it. You have to put a face to the name. Sure. To the voice.
Yeah.
Not the name.
Just a really hard issue, man. I really don't know who's right here. I really don't. Right. I just kind of I grew up in the North, so I'm kind of a union guy. So whatever the union says, I'm yeah, do your shit. Yeah. I think the gaming industry is different than other entertainment fields. I really do. With that, let's move into our final segment for the night. The worst of Kickstarter. Let's load this up. So what were we doing? We were trying to find Kickstarter games.
Our goal here was to find some cool Kickstarter games to share with you all, because we've been playing so many games that started off on Kickstarter or that had Kickstarter backing at some point during their development. And so we were really excited about looking into Kickstarter, seeing which games were out there, and possibly having one of the games that we found that looked really awesome be backed by us, depending on what the community feedback was. So we were going to share this onto Twitter.
I was so hyped for this idea. I was we're going to find 5 Kickstarter games. Our community is going to decide which one's the best. And we're going to be known throughout Kickstarter as this cool fucking podcast. Nope.
Yeah, so we started looking for Kickstarter games that we would that we found interesting and that we would want to back. And I'm not going to lie. My experience with Kickstarter before now has been I either see a development company at a con.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have a Kickstarter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go back you. Or someone shares a Kickstarter on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere. And I am like, okay, I'm going to go back this game. It looks really cool. Or I just hear about it, word of mouth. It's an advertisement. It's a blog post. And I think, okay, I'm going to go. I don't really peruse Kickstarter.
No, me neither. And
now I know why.
Well, I think back when Kickstarters began, there were more games and development companies putting their stuff up on Kickstarter. I think I think that's our problem. I think Kickstarter's starting to fall off once people realize the amount of work that goes into having a Kickstarter and fulfilling the promises. Because when we started looking for games, we had trouble finding one or two games that we really were interested. So we kind of have these games that just don't live up to the expectations of us, or I think the Kickstarting community.
To be honest, I'm kind of shocked that some of them are even out there.
Yeah. All right, let's get right into this. The first game that we were looking at as the shitters of Kickstarter, World War II Full Experience from Oral Robinson.
Right. So World War II Full Experience is this is the little subtitle on this. I'm trying to create the most ambitious World War II game to date. I want people to experience the game, not just play.
Oh, damn.
So I don't really know what that means. It sounds like this person wants to recruit soldiers to go to literal war with him. Unfortunately, if you were interested in finding anything else out about the game and how you are going to go to war, the only visual that you have is just a very famous photograph.
Yeah,
there's no artwork done for this game yet.
Here's the kicker. Is that from World War II or is that Vietnam?
I'm pretty sure that's not World War II.
Okay.
I don't know though. I don't know. So in the about this project, it says the game has not been started. This is just the first step to finance and start an early draft of the game. The idea is there, but I'm going to need to find a team.
Just like in war, he has to recruit his team. He's like the A-team, dude.
So this is when Brian and I are looking through Kickstarter, and I am like, man, look at this one. Yeah. We could promote this one. So far, this game has $105 for some godforsaken reason, pledged to the $100,000 goal.
Dude,
so good for them.
Who backed this?
I don't know.
All right, there's one backer at $100 for a pledge, which gives you early access. You will be given the opportunity to visit the studio at any time, which is probably just his bedroom, and be the first to receive early access play. Someone spent $100 on that.
Well, it is an exciting visual. Just this photograph,
So, I don't think this is the high watermark for Kickstarter. Just going through it, the modes of play. He says, "Well, I have a vision, but I need help to fund that vision. I always wanted a game that I could experience the game, not just play the game. This game would make the player do what he needs to do to win without any limits." What does that mean? War crimes?
Wait a second. Wait, stop. Because listen to this. He's always wanted to experience a game, not just play it. What does that mean?
No, dude.
What does that mean? Anyway, we're not recommending this game. It at all. Do not back this.
I'm sorry, Oral Robinson, but
I think that this individual just should sign up for the army, Yeah. That's what he needs.
That's what he needs.
He needs to get out of the house.
He needs to enlist.
He needs to enlist. He needs to get out of the house. He needs to enlist. That is the experience he's going for. We are not recommending this game.
All right. The next worst of Kickstarter. Revelations.
Okay.
By Scott Fines.
So Revelations. Also, just an image of a map. These are the real ones where they need a lot of this money to invest. This is only a $700 goal though. So
that's it.
This game is way more like it's going to be way easier to back, not having to reach 100,000.
5 more days to go. Better start putting it in.
Yep.
All right. So Revelations. I'm trying to tell a story about a boy who has a great burden on his shoulders, a burden of uniting the God agents, Lucifer. What?
So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say gods against Lucifer.
Maybe it's biblical. They used different words back then.
It could be. It's hard to tell. So this game so far has 0 backers, shockingly.
Damn.
You know, you can have your face and voice used in the game for $30 though. That's pretty awesome. You know, that's a good deal. So by the way, all those voice actors on strike, if you want $30
dude,
on the down low, all
right,
you can just back this game with the money that you don't have. Okay.
Dude, let's read about this project.
Okay.
The plot revolves around the second fall of humanity, but this time is unnatural. The last Lord of Light, aka the Playa, is charged with halting and, if possible, reversing the degradation of the 4 pillars that support this plane. Or I'm sorry, pillars that support this plan of existence. In doing so, he discovers that this is not only a plane, and
not the only plane,
and that the pillars in every plane are also being destroyed and corrupted by the darkness, whose king, who is only known as Lucifer. You misspelled Lucifer, my friend.
Also, that is almost one. There's only like a couple sentences in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, risks and challenges that this individual has towards his game. If you decide to back it, you have to know about the risks and challenges. One of the risks is that no one will buy the game.
How is that a risk? Everyone's going to buy this game, dude.
That's a risk. And then also another big risk is that they won't be able to find enough voice actors to voices everything. And that means that we need to help them find the voice actors by spending your own money to be a voice actor. I mean, just a heads up.
It's like you said earlier, there's a strike going on. You never know what kind of voice actors you can get nowadays.
Yep.
So we're not going to recommend Revelations? That's a no?
I was almost about to recommend it just because I love Lucifer. But I have to say that the risk is just... it's too high. I am concerned that no one will buy this game, and I don't want to spend my money if no one's going to buy it. You know, it really made me nervous.
You're a conservative investor. I respect that about you.
I really am.
Let's move on to Nightman from Austin Lockhart. Hi, I'm Austin, the creator and developer of Nightman series. In all its branches, I write books and am making games. Well, this uniquely is our first one we're looking at. This is actually funded.
So yeah, this is the thing. So we were looking at these games and we're like, okay, this is awful. We're looking at these Kickstarter games. We're like, this is just awful. We need to find some games that are actually getting backed. And so I just started looking at the bar, because on Kickstarter, you have this green bar as it starts filling up to 100%. And I just started looking at a bar. Well, I found this game. I'm like, oh, this one has it's reached it's like really high up there. It's either done or it's reached its goal. Yeah. Well, guess what? It did reach its goal. Ooh. And its goal is only $50.
Dude, when we were looking this up, you like flipped. You're like, we're in stretch goals now.
We're in stretch goals. We are in stretch goals.
All right, so about this project. Nightman, a loving game adaptation and continuation of the story told in the first book of the series, Nightman, The First Crisis. A RPG drawing inspiration from the most helpful game of 2015, Undertale, and the Mario and Luigi RPG games. Toby Fox has no involvement in the development of the game, and I wish he did. He's awesome and chock full of talent and determination. But his work has inspired me to move on with my own. Now, I feel bad about shitting on this game now, dude.
Because this person is 12.
He's positive as hell, though.
Very positive.
Let's look at these, like...
Very, very... You know what? We're not shitting on it. He's in his stretch goals.
Oh, he is in his stretch goals.
He's doing great.
All right.
He's doing great. He doesn't even need us to appreciate or deny him. He's killing it. This
is a celebration.
He's already in his stretch goals.
Risks and challenges. What do you think?
The risks and challenges, the funding for programs needed, funding to help with the bills.
What bills?
Electricity, dude.
All right.
Music making, pixel art making, pixel tile making, coding, time to write the remaining 5 books to finish up the chapters, more internet friends, and schooling.
So basically, I need everyone to develop this game.
Well, wait a second. The risks and challenges of that, no one cared about those risks and challenges. They still backed it.
They did. They are
to the $50 goal.
They are bullish on Nightman, my dude.
Oh, they are.
Let's go check out what people backed here.
There are a ton of backing options in here.
This guy is a writer. Holy shit.
Yeah, he writes lots and lots of books.
Here we go. $40 pledge. That's our first backer.
Oh, okay. Where is that? Read it.
All right. So pledge $40 or more. Nightman of the Dark soundtrack. Here will be some Jim Jams to Jam to. How exciting. This tier will include a free download to Nightman of the Dark soundtrack, a free ebook of Bucky, Tales of the Misunderstood Vampire, Book 3, free ebook of Nightman, Anxiety, Book 4, free ebook of Nightman, Book 7.
It goes on. No, there's too many. You get a shit ton of free ebooks that have apparently been written, I think. But I need to point something out immediately here. The estimated delivery of this reward is December of 2022.
Oh my God. How far away is that?
So none of these books
5
will
years?
be delivered to you for 5 years.
It takes time to write. This is ambitious. Nightman is a overarching series.
Right. It is. It's intense. So if you guys want to back that, you will have reading material for sure.
Yes.
That will be delivered to you by 2022. You might never get the game that's being created here, but you will have some reading material within the next 5 years.
Yeah, you have something to hold you over. It's bridge books, really. Dude, I don't see any backers other than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you had to back a certain amount. They got like $1, maybe a few $1. So we were like, okay, that was a bad example. Where's another game that is almost like maybe not 100% backed?
Sure.
But where's a game that is almost 100% backed?
Is there room for us to help as a podcast? Does it have that much room where we could jump in with our community and get it there?
Right. And then we found In the Dark Forest.
In the Dark Forest. Sentenced to death and lost in an eerie forest, navigate the dangers and find a way out in this dynamic, text-based adventure.
So this game was unsuccessful after the time that we found it. It got $227 of the $300 goal.
So close.
It's a text-based adventure, and already I'm wondering why they didn't pick a different text or font.
Yeah,
what is this typeface? It's awful.
That's like worse than Comic Sans, dude. Like at least Comic Sans like adheres to some kind of rules about how wide and tall they're gonna be.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with this visual. Again, very there is some art involved with this Kickstarter. I actually looked up to see if they grabbed it from another place. They didn't. It is original art. I want to give them credit for that.
Kudos.
But as you start scrolling down, and you start looking at the things that they're talking about here, it's
Nothing at all.
There is nothing happening here. And they almost got to their goal of $300. I assume that was, family, friends, whatever, that were backing that. But also, what the hell is going on with Kickstarter games only having goals of $300? How easy is it to make a Kickstarter?
Dude, for real. And in what world does it take $300 to make a game that you need to go to Kickstarter for it? What are you putting your money towards? I don't understand. Should we look at some of the pledges for this one?
Sure.
A $5 pledge will get you a copy of the game and any of the stretch goals unlocked. Neither of those will happen. 3 backers for the $10 tier. You get the game, the stretch goals, and your name featured in the credits. In the $30 tier, which has 5 backers, copy of the game, stretch goals, credits. In addition, we will make you a special character featured in this game. I'm pretty sad about this.
Yeah, they didn't get it. They didn't hit their goal here. They did put together more art than pretty much any of the other games that we looked at. Mm-hmm. They had a very frugal budget here, which is appreciated because the first game that we looked at said $100,000, and God forbid anyone got them to that level. It's just weird. I was kind of shocked, I guess. My whole experience looking on Kickstarter was frustrating with you because I'm angry that these things even get to be posted. And I know some people are backing them. I'm assuming that that's friends, that's family, whatever. But it's a very frustrating thing to see so many games like this being listed. I don't know if any of our listeners have perused Kickstarter for good games. I just say that after this experience doing that, I would be hesitant to do it again. However, I feel like we did find the one game that seemed
the saving grace, really. The type of game that we were looking for when we started this endeavor. Mm-hmm. Ash of Gods from Arum Dust Studio. Maybe that's the first clue, is that there wasn't someone's name, it was actually a studio. Yeah. Maybe that should pro tip if you're going on Kickstarter, just make up a development name. Ash of Gods, a turn-based RPG featuring a roguelike storytelling, featuring risks that truly affect the gameplay and an extensive online PvP mode. Dude, I've actually got myself more worked up and a little bit more pumped for Ash of Gods since we've done this.
Really?
Yeah, man.
So here's the thing is that when we first saw this, it is so much like Banner Saga that I started feeling almost uncomfortable. Immediately, I was looking online. I'm like, does Banner Saga approve of this? How do they? And they quote them. They quote Banner Saga on their actual Kickstarter. But it seems like overall, it's definitely following the same format. They're not hiding that, but they're basically telling you. And for those of you guys that haven't played Banner Saga, what kind of game would you say? It's
like a tactics RPG, Final Fantasy Tactics in that vein.
Right. Almost like chess in a way. But it's a really great game. Banner Saga and Banner Saga 2 are fantastic games for their genre. Groundbreaking. And you feel like you're participating in this almost old-fashioned cartoon. Yeah. This game follows that same vein. It is very interesting looking artwork, very similar. I've sat back and thought about it since we first saw it, and I've decided that I'm okay with this.
You're all right with it? You give the...
I'm okay with it. I was originally extremely uncomfortable, but Banner Saga was a great game. Mm-hmm. This is not following the same exact story. It's a different environment.
Yeah.
It is very much copying, but it seems like everyone's okay with it. And until I'm told that the people at Banner, the people that created Banner Saga feel frustrated, I'm going to go ahead and back this because I think that the art style and that type of gameplay is very entertaining. The strategy is fun, mm-hmm. and I love feeling like I'm participating in a cartoon.
Yeah. So you're not the only one. It has 912 backers with 13 days to go. They've reached 28,000 out of their 75,000 goal. I think this game's going to get made, even if they don't reach their funding. This seems more like a promotional for stretch funding type of deal, because the amount of artwork that's already been made for this game is mind-boggling. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like when we say it's comparing to Banner Saga, we're not trying to take away from how well it's done. It's almost like a compliment in the sense of like that game was fantastically gorgeous, and this game is too. I'm pretty excited about the game from the art aspects. It is a little bit more, I guess, English medieval than like Banner Saga kind of took on a Vikings vibe. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested in that, and I definitely think that we should put this up to the community. Like, should we, as Backspace Nomads, go ahead and fund this? And I think we just have to decide like what level of funding we're gonna do. So I think we should look at some of these tiers and see like what is good for us as a podcast.
Okay.
So like $5. Thank you for supporting us. You'll receive a desktop wallpaper. Hit the snooze button, bro. With that. $20. A digital download of the game, a wallpaper, and a Discord channel tag. Do we want to be in the Discord as nomads?
I don't care.
What's the next one? This one has 102 backers at the $35 level. You get the game, the wallpaper, Discord, early access to the game, a digital poster. What's a digital poster? A multiplayer unique item, or a gold starter pack.
I don't know. I'm sure we can figure out the right level for us to donate to. What we'll do is we'll put out a survey on our Twitter, guys. Everyone, if you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, please follow us at Backspace Nomads.
Sure.
We're going to figure out the ones that seem the best for us, that we're the most interested in, and then we'll let you vote and figure out what level we end up actually donating in at. So if you guys haven't followed us on Twitter or Facebook, it's Backspace Nomads. Mm-hmm. And participate in that survey when it goes out, because this is a game we definitely wanted to back after all of the gems.
I know. We got like it just like became so bad that this one stood out like a shining light.
Right.
Dude, just for like 5,000 we get to design our own in-game character. Do you want to have like a Backspace Nomads character for 5G? That's exciting.
We might need to set up our patron before that happens.
Okay. I think we can do that. If we can get 5G.
Okay. We need to start a Kickstarter in order to kickstart another project.
All right. We're going to look into if we can do that, or if Kickstarter's just going to hate us and like ban us from ever using their website again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my dudes.
I think they're going to accept it, honestly, because after what we've seen, I am pretty sure we'll be approved for anything.
Sure. Yeah, like for real, they'll just want to take our money if we can raise 5,000 after all that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so that's gonna do it for episode 20 of the Backspace Nomads podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.